Heard a comment today from a couple of creators and editors talking on kind of Twitter about how some characters are kind of problematic to the point that you can't have them in stories anymore. And the example used was Tigra, but they had a couple others. So is that true? Are there characters that are just times change and you can't use them anymore? Is that really true? I don't think so, but let's go into it. Hey everybody, this is Perch. The topic. This topic makes me feel sad, and I don't know why exactly, other than it feels like giving up, and I hate that giving up feel that sometimes comics creates, and you see it. I get the same feeling, by the way, when people come in and they say, you can't do Superman. There's just no way to do Superman as a movie. He's too hard. There's no material to draw from for Superman, which is something that some WB execs were going on about. And it just makes me sad because I think it feels like giving up. Like, we messed up Man of Steel. We had Kevin Costner talking about don't save people, and then Superman killing Zod, and we don't know why people didn't see it as an inspirational, true, hopeful film. We don't know why. Some people still like that film just fine, but for whatever reason, it's like people try something, it doesn't work, and it's like, well, we gave it our best shot. There's no possible way from the however 80 plus history, whatever however long Superman's history's been going on. There's no way we can possibly figure out a way to do a story here. So this conversation was going on around problematic characters. So right off the bat, kind of my the hackles are raised. I hate the whole phrase. Problematic has been just driven into the ground, and we're going to hear a lot of it in 2020. But I think we're almost at an end. People have almost exhausted that one to the point of the end. So what is where are there problematic characters? And problematic characters are characters that are maybe so dated, so blatantly racist, sexist, misogynist, whatever it happens to be, that they just can't be written anymore. So a good example would be if I don't I've seen no evidence a character like this exists, but if you had a kind of a hero character who was like a member of the KKK, and he would fly around in his little white robe with a white cape, and he would like save kittens and do little hero stuff, but also, burn crosses in people's yards and do that kind of stuff. But mostly it was like save kittens, but every now and then racist stuff. So you couldn't do that comic today. Like if you're like, it's time for a revival of KKK Man, you couldn't do that comic. You should have done a comic back then. This comic doesn't exist. I guess I'm using a very much a straw man here. I recognize that. But to illustrate the point, like what's something blatantly terrible? And then another example people often use, but I think it's a bad one, are characters that were drawn in a racist way. Like you have a lot of African American or just black characters, whatever African characters, were drawn with exaggerated lips and just kind of this very racist caricature of a character. Now, if you drew them like that today and you had them running around, then that would be wrong. That'd be racist. You couldn't do that. It'd be a talk. You couldn't. It would be wrong to do. But if you had a African character, like let's say again, I'm going to analogies. Let's say you have the sidekick to Shazam, which I'm completely forgetting, Captain Marvel. I forget his name, but he was an example of a very racist drawn character. Now, if you take that same character and you drew him just like a regular black person, there wouldn't be, there's no problems. It's not like the character is damaged beyond all belief that you couldn't even have that character, that name. You could. You just couldn't draw him in a racist way, which, right? That makes sense. Same thing goes for if you're trying to draw the Japanese in the way that, like in the original Superman books, you had very exaggerated, slanted eyes and buck teeth and very racist drawings. of Japanese people during the World War II time frame. If you drew them like that today, obviously you have a problem. But it doesn't mean you cannot draw Japanese people anymore. It doesn't mean that Japanese people can't be in comics. Of course not. You just need to draw them in a way that's not offensive. So all this seems like common sense to me, but if for whatever reason it's not, I don't know why, but it should be common sense that you can't you can't draw people in a racist way, but it means that character's still fun. So then we get to things like Tigra, and that the character is damaged, that you cannot do Tigra. And I mean, to me that seems silly because, well, number one, what is the issue here? Is the issue that she runs around in a bikini? Is that the problem? Well, okay, so give her a costume that's not a bikini, problem solved. Is the problem that she was, treated as a promiscuous character in the past because of, I don't remember the West Coast Avengers storyline, but she was in heat, so to speak. Well, not so to speak. I think it's even what they said. She was like, the cat part was taken over and she was in heat and she wanted to just hump Hank Pym like crazy, and everybody else. Um, is that the problem? Because then you just don't write her trying to hump the Avengers. I mean, again, I don't think it's that hard a problem to solve. I think if you're doing a comic and you're worried about sending a bad message to young girls or female readers, or you just don't want to have a bikini clad horny character, then you know don't don't write or draw her that way, and problem solved. I mean, right? I do. Was that storyline in West Coast Avengers and that outfit so forever burned in everybody's memory that you can never show the character again? I don't think so. And I question whether any character could ever get to that point. If there's, I mean, I think there's been bad takes of characters for as long as there's been comics. I mean, I don't think anyone is immune to the fact that there have been bad renditions of characters in the past. And we've seen bad Batman, we've seen bad Superman, we've seen Invisible Woman with the Peekaboo 4 costume. We've seen Wolverine devolved into that weird kind of animal Wolverine. You've seen a lot of dumb takes on characters. It very quickly, characters seem to be able to kind of pull themselves back up, and you get a good writer and a good story, and life's fine. I mean, the X-Men horrible rendition of the last, the Age of X-Men arc. You had a lot of terrible stuff in there, and now you've got Hickman's X-Men. People seem to like it, so I mean, she seemed to work out okay. I don't think there's any irredeemable characters. I don't think there's any characters that are so quote unquote problematic that they have to be forever banned from comics. And the fact that people who are in the industry are kind of eh, accepting the idea that Tigra is a character that just there's nothing we can do about her. Have to get rid of her. I don't think so. I find the whole discussion weird. Like I started out in this video, I find it sad that people would go there for a character. But I am interested in the broader question. Can somebody tell me, is there a character that is just you cannot do? That's just it's so forever terrible and wrong you cannot do it. That you cannot fix it in any way. Again, I'm not talking about whatever that space alien dude that impregnated Carol Danvers, Miss Marvel, with himself, and then she gave birth to him and then had a relationship with him or whatever. That guy, I mean, that's a dumb character, right? I don't think you should bring that character back. But if you brought him back and didn't have him impregnating people and then being born as himself and all that, if you didn't have that situation happening, then I mean, I don't. The character's fine, right? I mean, nobody wants to bring that character back anyway. But I mean, it's not like you have to forever hide that whole thing away, right? I don't know. I mean, hell, make him part of the Avengers. Why not? I'm just kidding. I'm just curious. What ones do you know? Do you have any? Can you think of any characters out there that are just so goofy, so problematic, so wrong that we couldn't do it anymore? That just they need to be forever expunged from comic history? And who are those? Let me know in the comments below. I'm really curious. I mean, I'm sure there's probably something out there, but I'm not getting it right now. And I think the bigger question is, if Tiger is your example, put a coat on her, right? Make it a fur coat. I'm just saying. Anyway, leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe to the video if you don't mind. Always happy to have you around. Follow me on Twitter at Comic Perch, and thanks for listening.